So you're thinking of starting a YouTube channel, or you want to grow your channel and build a strong community, or maybe you're wondering how you can start making some money from your YouTube channel. So in today's live stream, we're going to dive into those topics and also answer any questions that you might have. And joining me again today is Terence Fisher. Terence has a brilliant channel where he teaches musicians how to make more money doing what they love. He's built his channel to nearly 5,000 subscribers. And he's monetized his channel in some really interesting ways. So whether you're joining us live or for the replay, thank you so much for being here. And a very warm welcome, as always, to today's guest, Terence. Thank you so much everybody. For being here.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. I enjoyed our last, soiree, as it were. Yeah, this is pretty cool. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. It was very wonderful. At the end of our live stream the other day, I roped you in instantly to to coming and joining me again. It was just such a wonderful chat. So if anyone hasn't seen that, after this, go back and have a look at that. It was such a wonderful time. Definitely. So, Terence, it's been we just worked out it's been almost a month since our last Q&A. So how have things progressed for your channel during that time? Do you have any exciting developments to report?
Well, yeah. So, I mean, when we spoke last, or our last interview, rather, my channel was already sort of on an upward trajectory. That trajectory has, for the most part, remained the same. As with anything, it has, peaks and valleys here and there, but it's been on an upward trajectory overall. So, I mean, I'm happy to report that. So I think the last time I'm probably about maybe, I can't remember, maybe about 150 more subscribers since the last time we interviewed, or somewhere around
200.
Is it 200? Oh, wow. So,
yeah. Oh, I stalked your channel before this again.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, so there's a steady trajectory that's going there. So, I mean, I'm happy to report that. I mean, since then I've released, and I'm sure we'll talk about that more today, but the YouTube QuickStart course to help people get started on YouTube and everything like that. So that's kind of been working, man, just kind of, in the woodshed, as it were, and just trying to keep everything going. So that's what's been going on.
That's amazing. And I just wanted to say a massive, massive thank you to everyone who is joining us, everyone who's in the live chat right now. We've got my mum, the first person I ever met. She's very excited. She's watching from Strathalbyn up in the, is that considered the Adelaide Hills? I don't know, Mum. Hey, we have the Adventures of Poppy and Neville, a wonderful child and dog. They're both watching us, and I wonder if Roxanne is there as well. Hello, thank you so much for being here. We actually have Sharon in the chat from That Snazzy Life, and Sharon has very generously offered to help out she's going to be pretty active in the live chat today, and awesome. Dropping information where people might need it and stuff. Yes, Mum says Strathalbyn is in the Adelaide Hills. Where is everyone watching from? I'm in Adelaide, South Australia. And where are you, Terence?
I am in the US. I am in Houston, Texas, and where it's really, really hot today.
Beautiful.
We're at about 104 degrees. Yeah. So
Terence was telling me just before that there is potentially a bit of a storm rolling through. So if anything gets a little bit weird in this broadcast, we'll just be, you're going to be all right though, right? It's just a power outage.
Yeah, at the worst, it's a power outage. It'll probably come back on within minutes. So
yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, as long as you're safe, that's the main thing. I saw that we have Nature Photo Studios left the campground for good internet to catch the live stream. Now that is some serious dedication. So grateful to have you here. That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. Cool. So last time for anyone who watched the live stream with Terence a month ago, we kind of dove into some pretty advanced like monetizing strategies and like course creation, and because that's really something that you're awesome at, and you're also really awesome at teaching people how to start YouTube channels, which is what you're your new course is about that we're going to dive into a bit later. But I thought that maybe today we could take a little bit of a step back and focus a bit on some of the basics of YouTube.
Sure.
If that works for everyone who's watching. So yeah, as we're going through, we do have some questions, but as we're going through, if you're watching in the live chat, pop any questions that come to mind in the comments, and we'll certainly do our best to get around to answering them. Yeah, awesome. So first question, Terence, and this is a question that I think I get asked by my family and close people more than any other question. And that's, how long does it take, and how much work does it take for your channel to start making money?
Oh, wow. Yeah. So yeah, that's a question that gets asked a lot. And I understand it. When people are getting into it, they kind of want to have some idea of how long it's going to take. And so let me give you the unfortunate answer for it first. There is really no set time. It's going to be different for everybody. From each extreme, I've seen people from the first month, get the metrics that they need to get into the YouTube AdSense program, all of that kind of stuff, get the watch time, get the views, get the subscribers within about a month. Other people have taken 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So it just it really depends. There's so much that's happening on YouTube right now, and that's one of the things that's really important about being a part of a niche and niching down what your topic is, so that you can, when you're on YouTube, you can be specific, and you can differentiate yourself from other channels and other people that are talking about similar things. So now that's the unfortunate side of it. Now, the good part about it is that if you compare whatever time it's going to take to, say, the time that it takes to start a physical business, like if you wanted to open up a brick and mortar store, or open, I don't know, just some fast food place or something like that, and get that off the ground, comparatively speaking, between those two things and starting a YouTube channel, YouTube is exponentially faster. So, with most businesses, they say most businesses fail within about the first 5, 6 years or so, the physical businesses and stuff. And that's because what happens is it takes that long to kind of get those businesses off the ground. With YouTube, if it's something that doesn't take as much work as something as say a physical business, it does take some work, but not as much. But as long as you're consistent with that, you can start to see patterns of growth in a very short period of time, 3 to 6 months even. I would say that that's typical. If you're doing YouTube and you're consistent at it and you're being regular, there's no reason why you can't have some idea of where your channel is going to be within about 3 to 6 months. So that's what I would say. Now, as far as the work, I would say that it's not, I think we kind of talked about this a little bit last time, but I would say that it's not really a lot of work, or it's not really a lot of hard work. It's really, the work is the consistency that you have to do. And if you follow me on my YouTube channel, that's one of the things that I talk about a lot, is consistency. Consistency is really a foundational principle with YouTube, and really with a lot of things in life. I compare it to, if you want to get in shape, if you want to lose weight, whatever the case may be, it's something that you have to do, simple things that you have to do consistently over and over and over, that yield those results. So it's the same thing with YouTube. I mean, I do right now, my schedule since I started has been 1 video per week. So I only do 1 video per week, whereas other channels, they maybe do 3 or 4, 5 or 6. Some people do them 2 times a day, so it just depends. So the work can be how much ever you want it to be. So it doesn't have to be, I always advise people to get in it, do what you can do. If it's going to be a video every week, I would say that that's the minimum you need to do right now on YouTube, just because of the sheer volume of stuff that's uploaded to YouTube on a regular basis. You probably need to be at least like once a week, but that's doable for most people. So the work is not really that hard. It's just a lot of the same simple stuff that you do over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think oh, yeah, getting a video up every week, I
Mm.
think is just such it's so important. And
Yes,
like, and not just for having content that's there for people to watch, but so that you can develop your video making. I had
absolutely.
a
That's absolutely right.
like really thrilling moment this a couple of days ago where I went back and I watched my first ever video, which at the time I thought was really great.
Yeah,
And and it was great that I did it, but
sure.
in comparison to what is I'm producing now, it's like just the it's different. It's
Yeah, you
evolved, and I'm looking forward to in 1 year's time, another year, seeing where things are at. And yeah, so there's a lot of things.
Yeah, you start to see the improvement in so many areas just by doing that
Mm,
consistently. I mean, the way you speak, your mannerisms on camera, you get a whole lot more comfortable. You're not, I mean, because it becomes like a habit, like a process. Like you don't think of it's like brushing your teeth. You don't like
mm,
put thought process into how you're going to brush your teeth. You've done it so much, you just kind of know how to do it and you're comfortable with doing it. And it's the same thing with YouTube. So you get on camera at least that once a week, and then you hit this point to where it just becomes like the norm. It's just like what you do. It's natural. So you know, all of that camera fear and all of that kind of stuff just goes away. So yeah, it's very important. That's the
mm.
consistent part of it. You know, and the minimum I would say again is like that once a week. You know, minimum that if you're trying to get started on YouTube, shoot for doing that at the very least.
Absolutely. We've got some awesome questions that are coming through
Mhm.
from everyone. So thank you so much for all of these. Keep them coming. We have a question from Sharon. What was it like getting started on YouTube? Any shifts or niching down changes that you made along the way, Terence?
Yeah, great question. So, what was it like getting started on YouTube? I'll tell you about my first experience with YouTube. It's my first experience was sort of non-typical. Well, with the channel that I have now, it was sort of non-typical. I started the channel, I released my first video, and within the first week, I got like 1,500 subscribers. Maybe a little less. Maybe I think it was like 1,300 or something like that the first week. So I kind of struck lightning in a bottle with
Wow.
this one video. I talked about a topic that was a lot of musicians were already talking about, and that's a secret to one of the can't remember what book I read that in, but it always talks about joining the conversation that's already happening in people's minds. So it was just one
Mm,
of those videos that kind of struck lightning, so to speak. So that kind of started the revolution for me, and it was like, oh, I can maybe do something with this. So
mm,
from there, that was my first experience with the particular channel that I have now. I have other channels that I've done before. I kind of don't even count those as anything that I've done super serious or at least consistent.
mm,
Now, as far as niching down, I haven't. Where I started is pretty much where I am now. What I would say that I've done more so is refined what my overall message is and what it is that my channel is about, like the central thing that my channel is about. I've just sort of refined that message and kind of honed it in a little bit more. When I first started, it was more broad, and I think when you first start, you kind of have to be like that. You kind of have to
mm.
throw some things up against the wall and see what sticks, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I was more in that mode. So once I found out, once okay, this is sticking, this is not doing so well. So I've kind of just honed it in, not necessarily changed niches or niche down. And that's something that's really important too. When I was talking about consistency, we were talking about it in terms of the frequency that you post on YouTube, but it's also essential that you have consistency in your messaging as well. So I think what happens is a lot of people get on YouTube and they, try something and they see that it may not work the first time that they try it, and then they immediately jump to something else. And the
Mm,
problem with that is that a lot of things, they take time to build up. So you have to be willing to give subject matter, whatever it is that your central message or whatever it is that your channel is going to be about. You have to be able to give that its just due, its time. You have to work that. It may take more than once of throwing it up against the wall. You may have to throw it a few times and see what happens as your audience
mm,
comes in, as they grow. that's going to change. It's never going to be the same. You know, this 6 months ago, the videos that I probably could have done that were successful in my early YouTube days anyway, would probably be different from the second 6 months because I got a whole different group of subscribers now, a whole different audience.
Yeah.
So you see how
Yeah.
that works. So it's like you kind of have to give
Mm.
these things their time, and that's what a lot of people make mistakes, but they just don't give it enough time. You have to be willing
Mm.
to kind of let go of the end result and say, you know, I'm
Yeah.
just going to try this. I have to see if this is going to work, and I'm going to try it a few times and, you know, see what happens. So that's kind of been my
Mm.
process on YouTube. And like I said, it hasn't been really a niche down type of thing, just more so of honing in the central message of the channel.
Mm. That's the idea of giving things time reminds me of this little book that I happen to be reading at the
Comic
moment.
yes, one of my favorite books.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe in one of your videos you might have mentioned it was one of the things that got me to look into it more.
Mm.
But I in this book, he talks about the importance of consistency over a long time
Yes.
and not giving up just because we don't see results straight away. Like you
Yes.
can't go to the gym. We actually talked about the gym last
Mhm.
time we
Yes, we
spoke,
did.
and I also
We did.
revealed that time that I'm not very familiar with going to the gym. Um, but in this book, he talks about like you can't go to the gym every day for 1 week. Fit Dad Chris is in the house. Fit Dad Chris would know all about this. And yes, drive safely, as Sharon has recommended. But yeah, you know, you can't go to the gym apparently for 7 days and expect to have results.
That's
That's not
absolutely
how it
right.
works.
Right.
But eventually, one day after a long period of time, potentially, you look down and you go, "Oh, I do have abs."
Yes, that's
Um,
absolutely right. It's absolutely correct. I mean, and that's
yeah,
something I'm
yeah.
very familiar with. I'm no stranger to the gym, but you know, even if you think about it in another metaphorical sense, if you think about water hitting rocks and how that sort of forms things like the Grand Canyon and things like that, that's something that happens over time. You could watch a
Mm,
waterfall hit rocks like all day and not see changes in that rock, but it's the
mm,
small incremental changes over time, and then years to come, it's like, wow, this rock is a completely different shape. Now, you know, thankfully, we're not with YouTube, you're not talking about water rock type of time. You're not talking about,
yes.
you know,
Hopefully,
hundreds
it's
of
not going to
years.
take thousands of years.
Yeah, you're not talking about like thousands of years or anything like that to get, you know, wherever you want to
Yeah.
be. But you know, the principle still applies. You know, it's that water rock kind of thing. You have to give it its time. You have
Mm,
to let that water keep hitting it. And what happens is most people look at it and say, "Oh, this is not working. It's not doing anything. I'm not getting any results." When the results are actually happening, it's just very
mm.
incremental. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, absolutely. Um, uh, Weather enthusiasts. We have so many VRA people watching at the moment.
nice.
That's so awesome. Such a beautiful
VRA
community.
fam.
We're VRA fam. Yeah, yeah. I've had videos from 2 years ago that took off. That's it's just
Yeah,
so yeah. That's
my
the
most
miracle
popular
of
videos
YouTube.
my most popular videos right now are ones that I've done. So my first video that I ever uploaded, that's still my most popular, which was
Mm,
almost 3 years ago now. And then the other, I think in the videos that I have in the top 10 that are the most popular, I think the majority of them are at least 6 to 8 months old. So
mm,
you see how that works. You see how that timing
yeah,
thing works. So I mean, that's
yeah.
testament to it as well.
Yeah, you just can't like if a video feels like it's not doing well in the first, you know, I don't know how many times I check how many views a
Mm,
video of mine has had in the first hour, but I
right.
shouldn't check so much.
Yeah.
And it means nothing. It means like obviously it's helpful if people are watching in the first day, in the first 24
Sure.
hours and all of that sort of stuff, but
Sure.
it's like because it's a search engine, it's there forever.
Yeah.
We had another with very nichey questions today.
Sure.
We have had this one come through from the Adventures of Poppy and Neville. We don't have a niche as such. It's more of a channel about our life. Do you think this will end up becoming a problem? Sorry if this isn't the type of question you want. We want all kinds of questions. Every question is good here. Yeah, no, we love that. Yeah, do you think that that will end up becoming a problem? You have a lot longer, like a lot more experience with this than I do,
Yeah,
Terence.
so a channel about your life seems more like a vlog more so than you're doing just like a regular sort of upload channel. And I can tell you for sure, vlogs are still very, very popular. You know, these
Mm,
I can't remember what the one was. I think was like earlier this year and last year where the family. I think it was something happened that was tragic too, but it was one family that was touring the country in their RV or something like that. They had a YouTube channel and it was extremely popular. They had like millions of
mm,
subscribers. And I think something happened where something tragic happened. I can't remember where. I think one person died or something happened like that. But anyway, needless to say, and there's a lot of vlog channels. So it sounds like what you're doing is more of a vlog style thing. So
mm,
yeah, go for it. I mean, I always say if you have an idea like that, just go for it. You know, try it out for a few months, see what happens, see what results you get, see what people are saying.
totally.
That's throwing something up against the wall. Throw it up against the wall, see what happens, see
Mm,
what people are saying about it. Use that feedback to either stay the same and do more of what you're doing, or change based off what people are saying,
mm,
or change based off
yeah,
what you're interpreting the best route is. To go based off that feedback. So yeah, absolutely. I don't
mm,
think what you're doing is wrong in any kind of way. I mean, it's one thing I hammer home all the time is this is something that people really, really need to understand about YouTube. They need to understand the you part of YouTube.
mm,
The you. I mean, it's really about you. Like that's it. Like is it you? Is it you that's doing the type of channel that you want to do, the things that you want to do on your channel? Then go for it. Like I think what
mm,
happens is a lot of people we get tied to those, results, is this going to bring me subscribers? Is this going to bring me this? I mean, I'm not saying that those things aren't important. They are, but you kind of have to go into it with a different mindset of like, I just want to do this to sort of be creative and express myself. And as long as you have
mm,
that as your sort of, primary objective, the other things don't hurt so much when you release a video and it only gets, a few views and only brings in like one subscriber or something like that. You can let that go and you just like, man, I'm really having fun doing this, being creative in this process. So anyway, that's a long answer
yeah.
to answer the question about is it wrong or should you be doing? Yeah, absolutely, go for it.
Yeah, I think it's great, and I think the Adventures of Poppy and Neville is like, how old is Poppy? If you're comfortable saying that, I can't quite remember. She's quite young, and there's some like I'm just so excited for this channel because she has time on her side in
Mm,
such a powerful way because she is quite young
mm,
and
absolutely.
also, like one thing that I have noticed with vlogs is that she's 9. Brilliant. So she's 9 years old. There she is. There's Neville. Awesome. Um, and yeah, so with vlogs, the ones that I have been known to watch, the thing that really hooks me in to watching vlogs is the personality of the person who
Mm,
it's about, and Poppy is just such a legend. So like she's so much fun to watch. And there's a video of Poppy and one of her friends, I believe, at an Ed Sheeran concert recently, and they're both weeping, and it's like one of the best videos that's on the internet.
nice.
It's yeah, it's so good. I think
Mm,
there's so much about that channel that is just brilliant, and to have a supportive family, to be 9 years old and have a family that's so supportive of
mm,
what
yeah,
she's doing, I'm just like, the world is your oyster, Poppy. The world is your oyster
absolutely.
for sure. I get very excited about that. Now I know we had another question up here
Mhm.
from here. There it is. One video a week is so important and will be my goal. Oh, there's some loud cars outside. I don't know if you can hear that across the world. like settle down. One video a week is so important and will be my goal. But until I get the momentum going to do that, is it better to wait until I can be consistent or upload sporadically to have content online? Great question.
That is a really great question. What I would say is, so what I like to tell people is when you're going into YouTube, do your best to front load as much as you can. So what I mean by that is instead of the videos that you're doing, instead of just uploading them sporadically, just record about 5 or 6 of them, have them ready to go. So, take if you right now until you get to the point to where you can be consistent once a week, just take a day or two or a week or two or however long it takes you, just record like 5 or 10 videos. So you have those 5 or 10 in the bag, and then you can schedule them to be uploaded over the next 5 to 10 weeks, right? So like and that's the great thing about YouTube, you can do scheduling. So I'm sure you're familiar with that. You can do scheduling. So you could put the video, say you want to release your videos on Friday at noon. So you can release it, say today on a Monday or a Tuesday, and put it on YouTube to be scheduled to go live on that Friday at noon. And you can do that with all of your videos. That way you can just front load them. That way you have that sort of built-in consistency already, and you're not even being consistent. So you see how that works? That's a really good way to do it. And that's another important part about that is front loading it, is that it gives you that time that now you can kind of sit back and relax, and you can look at the results that's coming in from those videos, start thinking about other videos that you want to make and get those ideas and things like that. So it's a win-win situation. So instead of being sporadic, instead of just releasing something, here or there, just don't release anything at all. Just record them all, however long it's going to take you. Record them all, 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 videos, and then schedule them to be uploaded. Do it that way. That's probably a better way to do it. And then YouTube sees that the algorithm has that consistent thing that it's seeing that you post as well. So that way you don't appear to your subscribers or your followers that come to see your stuff. You don't appear to them as like wishy-washy, like this person doesn't even upload on any sort of regular basis. You have that sort of built into that system. So that's the way I would do it.
Yeah. Weber Enthusiast says, I have to bulk record for 3 channels so I can keep constant uploads. That's like, you are an absolute, this is Dean, who's also, in VRA.
Nice.
Dean is an absolute machine. It just pumps out so many videos. It's incredible. Yeah, I agree. Oh my, well done. This is really interesting comment from Chris. Editing is so tedious. I've been primarily doing live streams lately because I get so burnt out on editing. That is such a good way to go. Like, I mean, I'm going on a little vacation on the weekend to Melbourne. And so this was a really nice, doing this today is like, that's great. There's going to be however long of footage and you don't have to edit it. It is. Have you do a bit of live streaming? Do you ever do public live streaming, Terence?
Every now and then. It's not often that I do. I kind of prefer the pre-recorded format. It's just I like being so I can't say that I really just enjoy editing, like it's like my favorite thing to do, but I appreciate the process of editing. You know what I'm saying? So I like to get in, kind of dig in. I'm a technical guy like that. So I kind of like to get in and play with stuff and know how it works, and see what I can change and add to and all of this kind of stuff. So I like that process, and you don't necessarily get that process with going live. However, editing is very time consuming. It is, I mean, that's one of so for a single video from me, I mean, a minimum, you're talking about maybe 2.5, 3 hours at the minimum, just to, get everything edited, put B-roll in, make sure everything is good to go. And, the uploading process and all of that, where with live, it's just there. You schedule it and then you go live and whatever happens. So I'm actually, it's funny we're talking about this because I'm personally actually thinking about probably going a little bit more toward live video and doing some experimentation with that. Just to kind of see, one of the things I always say about YouTube as well, I kind of just look at everything as an experiment, as a test, like that, throw things
Yeah.
up against the wall. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm probably going to start doing. I haven't ventured out into doing a lot of shorts yet at all. So that's probably something I'm
Mm.
going to start experimenting with as well. So yeah, I mean, but
Yeah.
the editing versus live thing, that's always a concern with, this YouTube thing. So whichever one
Yeah.
best fits your niche,
Totally.
yeah, whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
your personality, everything. So
Yeah, and it has to fit in with your lifestyle. Like
yeah.
if you don't have like, and particularly in the beginning, editing, if you haven't done much editing,
Mm,
everything takes
yeah.
forever in the beginning
Yeah.
while you're working it out, and like you slowly improve and get better over time. But like, it's a lot of work, and if you just
Yeah.
like, I don't have time to do that, and if that's the thing that's getting in your way, then work out another way of doing it, and live
Yeah.
streaming can be just a really great way to do that. I think one of the tricky things though with live streaming is that if no one knows about your channel yet,
Mm,
and you only have like hour-long videos,
yeah.
it's a bit of a tricky
Yeah, it
one,
is. It is.
because that's like asking, Sean Cannell says that's like kind of like asking someone to marry you on your first date. It's
Yeah,
like like when
absolutely.
you're first meeting someone. I am so excited to see that pop up down there. You're inspiring me to do some live streams. Love that. Sharon's channel is all about like vegan cooking, so go and check that out. That's Snazzy Life. It's brilliant.
Cool.
You're brilliant. I love your work. Love what you do.
Cool.
But yes, I live streaming. I saw recently. So I thought, oh, live streaming's great, but it's tricky when you have like really, really long videos.
Mm,
But I saw Heather Torres on her homeschooling channel.
mhm.
I don't have any children to be homeschooling, but I'm just interested in watching her process and what she does, because she's a
Sure.
wonderful educator. And she did a live stream that was a teaching about like the 5 myths of homeschooling, and it
Mm,
was a 7 or 8 minute video, and it
mm.
was all done live, and she probably
Oh,
didn't
wow.
have much of an audience there to watch it
Yeah.
at the time. However, it now has thousands of views, and it's like and it didn't take her any time to edit, and I just thought
Yeah.
that's a really brilliant idea, and that's a cool way to go, and possibly something Sharon could do. You could do like a 10-minute recipe on your cooking channel in real time. So many people would be so into that. I think I'd be into that.
Yeah, and then another thing is, don't forget, you can always repurpose your live streams as well. So you can, once you live stream
Mm,
it, you can download it from YouTube, chop it up, edit it into smaller bites. So if you have like
mm,
these, an hour long video, you could break that up into 10-minute segments, like 10 6-minute segments, and you have six
yeah,
other videos. Know what I mean? So I
yeah,
mean, there's a way to do that kind of stuff as well too. So I mean, it's live streaming having has some really good benefits. So
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. There's a really wonderful suggestion in here from Chris. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. I love that suggestion. That's awesome. If anyone has put any questions in the live chat that I've missed, because there's a lot of chat happening, which is so
Mm.
awesome and I love it. But if I've missed anything, maybe pop 3 question marks before and after your question and put it in there again. And yeah, that would be awesome. So on monetization,
Mhm.
what are the different ways that you have monetized your channel? And did you try anything that didn't work? And what have you found has worked best for what you're doing?
Yeah, really good question. So, best ways to monetize. So, um, I think one of the best ways is YouTube AdSense. Like that's really just money on autopilot. So once you're into the AdSense program on YouTube, you get the required amount of watch time that you need and subscribers and all of that. I mean, it's just you just checks just show up, money just kind of shows up randomly throughout the month because it's YouTube is paying you to play these ads on your videos. So that's like it's just like passive income while you sleep. So as far as one of the best ways to do it, that is absolutely one of the best ways. Now,
Mm,
the drawback of that is that you kind of do have to have some pretty good watch time and some, people watching the videos, and your videos probably need to be getting a good amount of views before you're making anything significant. Well, significant is kind of, subjective. But I don't see just for the average channel, somebody like mine, 4 to 5,000, even 10,000 subscribers, you could do easily a few $100, even a few $1,000 a month just from AdSense, while you sleep. So that's one of the easiest
mm,
and best ways to do it. Now, everything else with monetization, I think, kind of depends on your niche and what you're doing. So for me,
yeah.
what I've done is my channel is about teaching musicians how to use their talents to make more money. So the way that I do that is I release courses that teach them how to do that. So my monetization process is my business. It's like a course school of courses where I want musicians to have this online resource where they can come and learn things about making money. So that's, having stuff that's outside of YouTube is a really, really good way to do that as well. And then of course you have things like the Amazon Associates program where Amazon pays you commissions and stuff like that. You asked me about what I've tried that didn't work. That's something that I tried. And I can't really say that it didn't work. I think what happened is I tried it too soon. And I think
Hmm.
what happens is a lot of people, so the bar to get into the Amazon's associate program is you have to sell like 3 products.
Yeah.
Have convinced somebody on your channel to buy 3 products. And it sounds like really easy. It's like, oh, 3 things. I mean, and
Yeah.
it could be anything. But trust me, we all underestimate how hard it
Yeah.
is to sell to people. So get people to open up their wallets and buy something. So you have to
Mm,
sell like 3 things within 90 days or something like that. So the first time I didn't even make that. The second time I think I did, and I'm in the Amazon's associate program now. I don't even really use it that much to make money. It brings in a little bit here and there, but it's something that I don't really concentrate on at all because that's something that you really have to kind of like my courses and stuff, it's something that you really have to kind of put some time into, like being able to sell to people,
mm,
stuff that you may not even know about. And with me, I really want to, it's easier for me to talk about and sell stuff to people, sell SELL and SALE, sell stuff to people that I know about, that I'm, because I can be authentic about it. I'm not selling something that I don't know about. So I can speak about
mm.
it in ways that's, that's really authentic. And I think that's what people buy into rather than, hey, here's this nice Amazon product that I may or may not have ever used, but
Yeah.
the kind of thing, and people can sniff that kind of stuff out. So those are just some,
Totally.
monetization things that I've tried,
Mm.
and what's working for me now.
Yeah, I was saying Dean has been kicked out of Amazon 3 times, and
Yeah,
it was so stressful. Yeah,
yeah,
I have as well. I was
yeah.
like,
It's typical.
three
Yeah,
sales? That's
that you
so easy.
you think
It's
it's
just
like really easy. It's
not.
like, oh, but like I could just get somebody, and then they're well aware of like the links. You
Yeah,
can't send them to your friends to let them buy
yeah,
something on your behalf. Like they know how all of that works. So it's
totally.
incredibly difficult to do that. So yeah, Amazon. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's a great resource once you get to a certain amount of followers and subscribers and stuff and viewers who watch your channel for longer periods of time, and you have a better chance of people
Mm,
just buying stuff like that because you're kind of more of an authority at that point. But when you're first starting
mm.
out, I mean, if you only have like 100 even under 1,000 subscribers, I wouldn't even bother with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And I also think because I applied for it day one.
Yeah.
Day one of my YouTube
Yeah.
channel. And I was like, this is going to be so easy because I'm going to
Yeah.
talk about this book that I love, and I'm going to talk about this thing that I like. There, I was so misinformed, and even though I had heard, don't apply for it straight away,
Yeah.
it doesn't work like that. And I think also because in the beginning, I told all of my friends and family about my YouTube channel. So I wonder, like in the beginning, it's possible that people were buying things, but because Amazon literally runs the entire world,
Yes,
it's like
they
absurd
know.
to imagine they don't know who your friends are.
Yes, they know.
It's because people are like, how would they even know? And I'm like,
Yeah.
because they're like stalking us,
Right.
like
Right.
watching our every move.
That's right. I mean, they have
But
algorithms that just sniff that stuff out really easy. So
yeah, yeah. The great news though is that even though Dean was kicked out of Amazon 3 times, Amazon is one of his biggest streams of income. So that's amazing. So it's like
yeah,
definitely worth giving it a go again. And I think it really Dean's channel is all about Webbers. This one. And I think it really lends itself to that because it's, Dean is an expert on Webbers. So
right.
people know that they can trust, and he also does really honest reviews. And I think that's something that people could learn a lot from watching Dean's reviews. Like
It's a really good
it's
point because
not one-sided.
yeah, it's a really good point because that's what I meant by it being sort of niche dependent as well. So somebody like me, who is a musician, I mean, most people would trust me with things like musical instruments. But most musicians aren't going to go to Amazon and buy their musical instruments. They're going to go to, the music
Yeah.
department stores, the guitar centers, Sweetwater, Musicians Friends, and things like that. So it'd probably be better for me to get like associate, programs with with those companies rather than somebody like an Amazon. Now they will go to Amazon and buy miscellaneous stuff, guitar strings and things like that. But again, that's something that's sort of the smaller the price of the things that you sell, the less commission that you get off those things. So if I get 50 people to buy a pack of guitar strings that only cost like $5 a piece, it's not really a whole lot of commission that I'm going to get off that money. So I mean, it becomes something like that. Whereas with Dean, what you're saying is somebody like that's a Weber into somebody that's into something like tech and stuff like that. People buy tech from Amazon. So it will
Yeah.
probably lend itself better to a niche like that than it would someone like mine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's like, there are so many amazing ways that like once you start learning about the different ways you can monetize things, there are so many possibilities, but I think it does take thinking outside of the square a bit sometimes, and also not being in a rush for it to happen overnight.
Yeah.
And like not quitting your day job ahead of
Day
when you
one. Yeah. Don't quit your day
should,
job. Day one.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a question come through that I think is really, really mega. Have you ever experienced imposter syndrome? And what advice do you have for someone experiencing imposter syndrome?
Very, very, very good question. So, gosh, yeah, this is something when I do coaching that I hear that a lot of people deal with. I think I'll cut to the chase with this. I really think that it's basically just the cure for this. At least I wouldn't say an absolute cure, but a way to get around this is just authenticity. See, the word imposter is about being something that you're not and you being afraid that you're being something that you're not. Well, if you're being authentically yourself, I mean, you're justified. I mean, it's like you're being you, so you can't be being someone else. So, and I'll break that down a little bit. I think what happens is a lot of us, myself included, we get into YouTube, we look at other YouTubers and we see the videos and we see how they are on camera and how personable they are and their attitudes and their smiles and their looks and how they act and how they talk and all of that kind of stuff. And then we think that we have to imitate that stuff to be successful. And so what our YouTube journey becomes is like this process of just trying to be something that we're really not. This is something that Gary Vee talks about a lot. And, those people who were part of VRA and that went to the, the conference or whatever. This is something that Gary Vee spoke about, like this authenticity thing. You have so many people that's just like not being themselves, like they're trying to be something that they're not. And I think when it comes to imposter syndrome, that's something that's a major factor in that. If you just show up as who you are, um, just be who you are, and unapologetically, I think that that's a really good, dare I say, workaround for the imposter thing. Now, I understand that even with that, thoughts and stuff come in, especially like it's something that I consider it's like a small thought in my head as I grow, as people start to follow me, as I start to get comments like, oh my God, you what you said here is life changing and all of that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff does kind of hit you. It's like, wow, like I changed your life. Like I'm having this sort of impact. So it does
It's very
make you sort of,
powerful.
right. Hey. And so it makes you
Mm,
sort of question that process, like, hey, this is, and at the most, it starts to make you think about like, this is a responsibility now that I have, or that I have to take, that if I'm having this sort of impact on people, I really have to be careful about the things that I say and about the things that I do, so that I represent, something that's authentic, and that I'm not steering people wrong, because I don't want to lead anybody wrong. I just want to tell them what I think is, the best case
mm,
for them, and whatever the case may be. So those kind of thoughts do come in. So, and that's it is sort of a form of imposter thing when you think about like, well, who am I to be saying all of this kind of stuff? So those thoughts come, but I think as
yeah.
long as you can rest in the fact that you're just being authentically yourself, just being who you
Mm,
are and talking about what you know, and your intentions are good. Your intentions are to help people. You're not trying to deceive people. You're not, trying to lead people astray, as it were, or anything like that. I think you can rest in that fact. I think there's a comfortable lane that you kind of coast in when you're that way, that that imposter syndrome is just not even a thing. Like I don't it's something that's, it's a passing thought that comes, it's like whoop, and it just leaves. So that's kind
mm,
of my long answer to the, dealing with the imposter syndrome. Just show up and be yourself. A lot, again, we worry about how we look on camera, whether or not our hair, do we need makeup, do we, all of, I have a pimple today, so can I not record my video? All of these kind of things. And again, I don't want to suggest that those things aren't important and that you shouldn't show up, you know, as your best, but just to put a worry on those things and let them control whether or not
mm.
you show up is something different. You need to just show up and be yourself, and don't be afraid to be that. And then once you're there, that imposter thing just goes away.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it is like it's there. It's like a natural kind of thing, I think, that exists for humans, and it's kind of
Sure.
designed to protect us in a
Yeah.
way, but it's gotten out of hand, I think.
Yeah.
And sometimes
Yeah.
it's just like you just got to say to it, and sometimes you just have to feel like feel not good and do it anyway. And sometimes I find that, like, I don't know, it's interesting for me. I have been kind of new to YouTube and having a channel that's about how to grow a YouTube channel. And it just was the thing that made the most sense to me to do, because it was the thing that I had become the most obsessed
Mm.
with and could imagine being obsessed with for a long time. And that certainly has stayed the case. But this is also from Gary Vee. He
Mhm.
talks about like documenting the process.
Yes.
So I'm not coming in and saying, everyone listen to me, I am the master of all things YouTube.
That's
In
right.
fact, like, quite the opposite. Like I like to reach out to other YouTubers and get, you to come and share your advice
Yes.
with people
Mm.
and provide a place where, that can happen, and give some really basic tutorials and things like that, but things that I actually know. Like, I'm not coming in and claiming, oh, if you do this, you're going to get like thousands of views. I don't know how
Mm.
to do that.
Yes.
I don't know that, like, I know things that can potentially help that to
Yeah.
happen, from what I've learned. But yeah, I think it's oh, that's very sweethearted Sharon. So glad you started this channel, Claire. We'll just put that on the screen because that warms
Yeah.
the very cockles of my heart. But it's like, it was hard for me when I first started in this niche because I was like, people are going to think, oh, she's only got like X amount of subscribers. Like, what does she even know? She has hardly any videos on her channel because I had to delete 50 of them. But like, you know, I was worried about what people would think, but it's like, that's okay if some people, that's the other thing. It's okay if some people think
Yeah,
whatever
because
they
they
want to
are.
think.
I mean, and here's the tricky
Yeah,
part about it. People are going to accuse you of being an imposter in one
totally.
form or
Yeah.
another. They're going to.
Mm,
That's just the way people are. Is just the way
mm,
things are, and that's another reason why I say, as long as you have your authenticity to rest in, to find
mm-hmm.
comfort in, and find solace in, as it were, you're okay with that. It's like I'm okay that you think that about me. It's like, I mean,
Yeah.
you can kind of let it go. So that's one of the good things about that, because people are going to come along and think that anyway. Have people question
Mm,
me every now and then, not too much as it, as it were, but is I get people question me. So, hey, let me see your results from this thing that you're talking
mm,
about, kind of thing. It just happens. It's just the way people are. It
yeah.
just is what it is. And then, you know what, I can say, you know, either not deal with it, or hey, here's the results, or I'm not really interested in even, having a conversation with you about it, because I see what your intentions are. So, and
Mm,
and my thing is not to, it's just like what you were speaking to, is not to claim to be an authority on something, more or less. Here is something that I found to be true for myself. Try it,
yeah.
see if it works for you. If it doesn't, hey, no harm,
Yeah.
no harm, no foul. We're done.
Mm,
So I mean, it's really that simple for me.
yeah. I think it's just so, it's so hard, but it's so important, I think, to move through the fact and accept the fact that not everyone is going to like what you're doing. And
Yes.
that's actually, that's just the way it is. And I think it's such a big part of being on YouTube and putting yourself out there, is you are allowing the world to see whatever they want to see about you through whatever lens they're coming with. But by doing that and putting yourself out there, you are also having the opportunity to, connect with you, Terence. Like,
That's correct. Yeah, that's right.
and
Yeah.
everyone who's watching. Like, it's such a beautiful place and a beautiful opportunity to connect. But you do have to also, you have to know that it is a natural part of, because some people are yuck, that some
Yeah,
people are gonna, and that just has to be okay, I think.
that's absolutely
We
right.
have got a great question here,
Mhm.
actually. Um, have you had to deal with many haters on your channel? And what have you found to be the best way to deal with them? And you did just touch on that a little bit there.
Yeah, another good
But
question. It's, haters are going to be there. They're everywhere. You can't avoid them.
mm,
How have I dealt with them? I just don't. Most of the time, I just ignore them. I mean,
yeah,
it's like most of the time you can see through the haterism part of it. You know what I mean? It's like
mm,
you can see that people are just there to spew hate. Like, and I don't give it any time. I'll delete the comment, or ban them from the channel or whatever, and I'm done. Like, I just don't give it that much time. I don't even give it that much thought. Now, at the same time, I am careful about, differentiating, um, what a lot of people would consider hate with just constructive criticism. I think we live in that world now
yeah,
where a lot of people are sensitive to, and it's like, when somebody criticizes something, you kind of see it as hater, them being a hater or being negative
mm,
about something. And that's not the case with me. I'll look at the comments, and if it's something that I find some truth in, then I'll go back and say, oh, maybe that is something that I can change. But even in
mm,
in most cases where you see the hater stuff, you kind of grow to see through it. You know what I mean? It's not like
yeah,
this. It's just don't even worry about it. Just, it's something that I really put to
mm,
the side, and that's what I suggest everybody do. Just, if you, a lot of big YouTubers don't even read their comments anymore for just that reason, just because they
mm.
don't know what it's going to be, or they have someone read them for them, and then
Send
come
them the
back and
nice
report.
ones.
Yes, send them the nice ones and come back, and be fair about it. Report any sort of criticism that there may be. But for me, I just,
Mm,
again, if it's most of the stuff that again, it's so easy to sniff out. If somebody's showing up on your channel and asking like, hey, why do you wear a watch on your videos? It's like, or that's a dumb watch that you have on, whatever, just something like that. It's like, okay, erase, I'm done. Like it's
Yeah,
really
yeah,
that simple. So that's how I
yeah.
deal with it.
I've heard a lot of people say that those kinds of why are you wearing a watch, loser, or whatever, that they will just thank people for the extra engagement, because any comment is
It works.
is
Yeah, thank
extra
you. It helps with
engagement on
the
your video.
yes, it helps with the
Yes.
algorithm. So thank you.
Thank you so much for letting YouTube know that this is a very fabulous, fabulous
Right,
video. Yeah,
right.
that's so funny. I I cannot believe that it's already been 55 minutes, Terence.
Oh wow, has it?
We
Wow. Guess my
yeah.
watch is coming. I didn't even look
Yeah,
at
yeah. What?
it.
Yeah. Why do you even bother wearing a watch, Terence, if you
When
didn't
I
know
don't
what
look at
time it is?
it.
But I did want to. I would love to touch on your YouTube course.
Mm,
So
sure.
this may be specifically for musicians starting a YouTube channel?
It's not. So here's
Oh, it's
what
not.
I do.
Awesome.
It's not, and this is what I like to do with even a lot of the courses that I have inside of my membership, my musicians inner circle, with my musicians. Pretty much everything, all of the courses that I put out, the principles and the knowledge in it is universal. I just use the
Mm,
language of musicians because I'm talking to musicians. So if
yeah.
I'm talking to you, about how, let's just say, how to make a purchase with something. If I was talking to a person that's a tech person, I would say, be talking about how to purchase a computer or a graphics card or whatever the case may be. So I'm talking to musicians. I'm going to say, this is how you purchase a guitar or a keyboard. This is how you get discounts on those things. But the
Mm,
principles between these two things are universal. This is, you talk to people, you do these things, you go through this process, and this is how it works. So with my YouTube QuickStart course, the language of it is music stuff because musicians are the people who follow me, and that's who I built it for. But the principles of it are absolutely universal. I mean, anybody can jump on it and, get into that course and learn from it and learn what it takes to be successful on YouTube and get up and running on YouTube really quickly.
yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
So we really all should do that course.
Yeah.
I think Sharon has the link that she is going to drop in the comment section if anyone is interested in checking that course out. I know I certainly will be doing that.
And
It
it
sounds
is
awesome.
absolutely free, guys. That's the good part about it.
Ah,
It's a free course.
bloody
There you
beautiful.
go.
With prices like that, you'd be mad to miss out.
Yeah.
Um, so Sharon's going to pop that in the chat for us, but it is also for anyone who's watching the replay of this. There's going to be a link in the description as well, that you can check out.
Right.
Do you have time for one more question, or should
Absolutely.
we
We
wrap
can do
up
two
here?
more. How about that? Go for it.
Oh, beautiful. I love that. I love also that was your response to me asking that question last time as well.
It's always one more
So
rep for me. That's what I call it. One more
that's
rep.
awesome. Well, I will, if anyone has a burning question, pop it in the chat. Otherwise, I'll get them from these questions that we had here. All right. This is a very, very good one because this is
Mhm.
something that I know that I have dealt with several times in my
Mm.
1 year journey so far on YouTube. In the beginning, did you ever think about giving up?
Wow. No, I didn't. I so there was again this lightning in a bottle process that happened with me in the beginning. It kind of
Mm,
worked for me in a lot of ways because I wasn't in the mindset when I started the channel. I didn't have all of these things in mind. I didn't have excuse me. I didn't have, oh, I want to have success in 3 months or a year, or I want to do this, I want to do this. Literally, the video that I made was because I had a position on the conversation that musicians were talking about, and I thought that this was the best way to do it, and I just wanted to express myself in the video. So I didn't have any sort of, results in it as far as like I wanted this video to get this many views, this many subscribers. So I didn't have the things there that would normally, give somebody an unctioning of like, this is not working, or maybe I should try something else, or maybe I should give up. None of those things were there for me. I just so
Mm,
happened to put the video out, and it worked to the extent that it worked. And then that's when I got into that mind frame of like, oh, this may be something. And then from there, again, I just started trying stuff. So it was that whole first year for me basically was just about, again, just throwing stuff up against the wall. And I had no, and even to this day, right now, I still don't have a lot of attachment to like, well, I probably have more attachment to the results now than I did at the beginning, because I'm deeper into it, and I have courses out and stuff like that where I've put significant time and energy into. But just with making the videos and stuff for the first year, I was looking at the subscriber counts and stuff like that, and I was seeing what was working and looking at the view time, and that's what I did. So once I found, it's just like that process that I know, like I tell people this all the time, and I think I may have used this example last time, but again, that it's something that's always in my mind is the metaphor about when a rocket ship gets ready to launch from Earth. When a rocket ship is launching from Earth going into space, it uses most of its energy just trying to get off the ground. And then once
mm,
it breaks out of Earth's atmosphere, it's just coasting pretty much wherever else it wants to go. It uses its rocket boosters every now and then to kind of propel it, but it's just coasting. So I'll kind of have that in my mind when I venture out to do anything. If I'm even trying to learn a new instrument or trying to speak a new language, whatever the case may be, I know that it's going to be difficult getting off the ground. Like I just kind of
yeah.
already have that in my head. So my expectation is for it to be difficult. And I know that
Mm,
with most things, I just kind of have to work through that difficult process so I can get to that coasting, you know,
mm,
result. And that's kind of where I am now. And every now and then again, I push the rocket boosters, kind of propel me to something and see what that is. But everything is for me is consistently a test. So again, to answer that directly, no, I didn't really think about giving up too much. It's me. I've
mm,
never been. I've just That's just not in me. My mind has never functioned like that. I've always just been a go. Let me just go, 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 go. And then, eventually if I feel like I've given it 4, 5, 6 years and then I haven't gotten any sort of significant results, then maybe then. But
mm,
I'm not a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day person, get abs in 90 in 60 days kind of person. I know that
mm,
it may take a couple of years. And that's just the
yeah.
way I think. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's like, I do think you're so lucky not to have that powerful negative voice come into your
I get
mind.
it.
But
I do speak to a lot of
I
people that
think,
have it. So I understand it.
yeah, yeah, I do. I think it is really, I think it's common.
Mm,
I would love to know if anyone else has experienced that, that feeling of like, oh, should I just give it up? And I think for me, it's always been about like finding the ways to make it easier for myself,
yeah.
whether that's like setting a schedule and knowing on this day I do this, on this day I do this, on this day I do this, and on this day I release a
Yes.
video, like rain, hail, or shine. Like
Yes.
that, I find like just getting real like when I'm feeling negative feelings, because I am want to feel negative feelings from time to time,
Sure.
but
Makes us human.
having
Yeah.
just, putting one foot in front of the other, going, okay, now I set up my lights, now I do this, now I do that, and not relying on feeling great all the time,
Mm,
um, can be really helpful. But the other thing is community. Like
mm.
surrounding yourself with community, I think is so awesome. It's why I started the I have a Facebook YouTuber support network, which is really wonderful. Some people who are in here in that group, and if you'd like to join it, the link is in the description. But
Yeah.
like, it's just, and Video Ranking Academy
Mm,
is so wonderful. Connecting with other people on YouTube, other people that are on the journey, and also people that are doing what you want to be doing,
sure.
like
Absolutely.
seeing, and there's so many people that are achieving success on YouTube in some form,
Mm,
that
yeah.
are willing to share to, gaming enthusiasts. This is Weber enthusiasts. This is a Weber enthusiasts other channel.
Yeah.
It's so good to have you also here. But yeah, have positive people around you. It's
Mm,
it's so important. And actually, I think that I was just reading about that in this book, Atomic
Yes.
Habits, as well.
Yes.
Like, it's so important to surround yourself with people that are saying, you know, you got this, you can do it, rather than surrounding
Absolutely. That
yourself
reinforcement
with
is always really, really important.
mm,
For me, I've always just been a little bit more self-driven. Uh, I think it's
mm,
because my craft, being a musician, has taught me that to be good, in any sort of sense, that I just have to keep doing it. Like, I just have to
mm,
keep practicing. It's the same thing as why I always use the gym metaphor. It's like when I wanted to get in shape, I understood just by going through the process that I just needed to keep doing it. I just needed to give it its time. That's why I'm always preaching that message about time. So
mm,
for me, I think I kind of intuitively just understand that. So I don't want to, it's not like I'm just a machine or something where I don't get discouraged or anything like that. I'm not saying that. It's just more so that that to get to that point of discouragement and wanting to give up probably takes me a little bit longer than I'd say that is average. I would say it that way.
mm.
And that's just because I understand that process. But I'm, of course, I'm human. I go through the times of like, oh my God, like this video only got so many views. I put in all of this work, and the
Yeah,
editing process was 3.5 hours, and it's like it took me 2 days
yeah.
to shoot this video and all of this kind of stuff. I was like, really? And I thought this was going to be the one, So
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah. The one.
yes,
That's
yes,
always a heartbreaker when you're
right. It is.
convinced.
Yes,
Yes, and you just have to. It's just so important not to put too much weight into any
yes,
of it.
mm,
Like,
absolutely.
because you have no idea what's going to be the weird one that
No
does
idea at
well.
all. Again,
And
that
like
that
so
list
many
of the
people say,
Yeah, I'm sorry. That list of top videos that I were talking about that are kind of like my top viewed videos. I think out of that 10, probably one of them was one that I suspected would do well. The other nine is
yeah,
like they were just sort of random, and I'm like, wow, really? I didn't even put that
yeah,
much time into these, and I'm doing all of this work on these other ones and trying to come up with great thumbnails and all this kind of stuff. And it's the crappy ones, or at least the ones that I thought were crappy, that are in my top 10. So it's like
yeah,
you just never know.
yeah. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful thing. I think
Yes.
on that happy note, I just want to say an absolutely massive thank you to you, Terence, for giving your time again,
Absolutely.
and sharing. It's just always so awesome and inspiring and wonderful to chat with you. And thank you so much to everyone who is watching live, and for all your comments and questions. And it's been just a barrel of laughs. Yeah. So yes, if you have not subscribed, make sure you do that and give this a like if you've gotten value from this, which I can't imagine you wouldn't have. It's been pretty good. And yes, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.